Hello everyone, my name is the Mad Scorpion and welcome to Festival of the Lost in Destiny 2. Now, first of all, aside from the spooky voice, just to get into things, of course you'll see the tower is different, and just as a quick little thing to go by, if you wanted some free stuff, if you actually climb the trees here in the middle of the tower and buy aquire, you'll get some free candy in various amounts. So just go ahead and do that every week, or at least every day, because I forget if it's a weekly or daily reset. Regardless, when you load in, obviously Eva Levante will be here for all of your holiday needs. Now, I will cover that in a separate video, completely different from the reset, just to keep everything focused. But getting into everything, in terms of Destiny nowadays, we have two boosters going on at the same time, and both of them focused on the Vanguard, because at the same time as a double reputation, there is also bonus rewards. Now, I did see that on the drop in the front screen, so you might only see increased Vanguard rank in some places, increased Vanguard rank here, but then double Nightfall rewards, possibly in another place. Nope, not really showing. But at least a pop-up says double rewards and double rep. So if there's ever a week to grind out strikes for anything, whether it be the reputation, the resources, or just getting through the ranks, now is the time to do that. However, I will say, unfortunately, it is a bad day, just because if you are doing Nightfalls, it is Buzzard, which its only real good place is in PvP. It is a pretty solid pistol there, but at the same time, it's a sidearm. How dependable can it really be? But aside from that, the weekly farming Nightfall, I actually didn't even see what it was, is currently the Moon Battleground, or the Scarlet Keep, excuse me, which is not too terribly hard. If you have a dedicated team, you can make it easy enough. Yeah, I would say it's a medium difficulty Nightfall, the final boss probably being the hardest section of the whole thing. Running through it, you have Arc and Solar Shields, Barrier Unstoppable champions, because it's mostly Hive, Arc threat for incoming arc damage being increased, then the usual Grandmaster modifiers of Extinguish, Limited Revives, Fire Pit, so Acolytes spawn fire on defeat, Chaff for no radar, and then we have the usual seasonal overcharge weaponry, Strand, and Void Surge with overcharged sniper rifles through the whole thing. And like I said, Buzzard is currently the drop for it if you wanted to go for the Nightfall weapon. On that same thing, though, of course, with Gambit, there is nothing new going on as usual with Gambit. Crucible, we have just lost Iron Banner, which means we'll have one more towards the next couple of weeks, which means Trials of Osiris will once again be active this weekend, and we also have Rift and Momentum Control for our rotation game modes currently in. It is currently Checkmate Rumble for our rotations. Then, in terms of the main world, now, for a few of the things, just checking pinnacles here and there. Let's see, pinnacle. Okay, that's right, weekly mission, so that's a pinnacle. But for our weekly events, now, starting with Crota's End, the rotation has gone all the way around. It is back to Abyss Challenge, which is basically you can only light the lamps once between deposits of the chalice. So if you want to do this right, basically deposit the chalice, go about, use the lamp reset to refresh your timer. Don't light every single lamp. Obviously you only have one lamp, and I forget if you can build them up, but going forward, let's just hope you can. Mobility focused armor from master mode, but that also means that the adepts can drop from Abyss this week. And like I said in priors, they aren't really on any sort of exact list like they were for Vault of Glass. Essentially, if you look at your collections, you'll see I've gotten every single thing in a variety of ways. Basically, when it comes to these raid adepts, you'll get everyone once before it starts giving you randoms. So if you think you got more than one machine gun in a row and you haven't gotten Abyss to fight a word, that's not actually how it is. You'll be getting one of everything until they all drop, and you'll be able to farm out and choose then, hopefully. But on that same respect as well, like I said, Crota's End Master Mode, mobility focused with Barrier Unstoppable champions. I don't know why it says all, considering I don't think I recall seeing any overloads in here. Arc and Solar Shields, Strand, Void Surge, and Overcharge Glaive during this thing as well. And, of course, it is going all the way back around, so there is that. Now, in terms of our farming raid, it is currently the Garden of Salvation for our weekly farming raid, which is one of the most annoying ones, just because, yes, you can get infinite gear, yes, it does have some good guns, but there is no exotic farming. The exotic is based on quest, plus it's just how many people can you actually get together to do a garden nowadays. But with that, like I said, all challenges active, all four, and there you go if you need a reason to go back to Garden. Speaking of the same thing, Pit of Heresy is currently our farming dungeon. There's no exotic from it, aside from Xenophage, which is quest. Like I said, so there's no farming for the Pinnacle. It's really just farming for the weapons in case there was an outlier you wanted, or armor, which doesn't really spawn a high stat, and it doesn't have Artifice armor, so there's real no point in visiting it aside from a Pinnacle. Then, getting into rotations for the weekly, we also have Operation Seraph Shield for our weekly mission, which means if you want any of the Season 19 set, which is Seraph Gear, not Targeted Redaction, Fire and Forget Fusion Rifle, Retrofit Escapade, the Disparity Pulse Rifle, pretty much anything from Season of the Seraph that you wanted that was seasonal specifically, go ahead and do that, and especially if you wanted to level up Revision 0 and finish getting that completely built, that's a solid Pulse Rifle, and I definitely recommend getting it to its fullest form, just because if you ever need Anti-Barrier, I know Wish Ender's there, but if you ever need Anti-Barrier in a different form, there is that, which is a free buff in a weird way. It's hard to say it quickly. But then going throughout the world for our raid challenges. For Last Wish, we have the Witch challenge, which I forget which that one is. But then going throughout, we already have Garden. Then for Deepstone Crypt, we currently have Red Rover challenge going all the way back around. First Encounter challenge, a real annoying one, which is basically everyone has to do Operator for the entire encounter. Then checking in with the Legends tab for everything else. Vault of Glass, we currently have the Out of Its Way challenge, which I believe is Templar challenge, remembering off the top of my head. It's basically you cannot let Templar teleport. You have to burn him in 30 seconds. Pretty easy to do, though. For King's Fall, we also have the Devious Thievery challenge, which I think is War Priest challenge, remembering off the top of my head. And then for Vow of the Disciple, we have Defenses Down challenge, which is second encounter challenge. Or no, wait. No, this is third encounter challenge. That's right. Exhibition. Basically, only one person can kill a knight each time, so you only have 6 total knight kills you can do for your entire team. And then going to Neptune, as usual. Oh, they actually fished Root of Nightmares. They have challenges again, which is Crossfire Challenge, second encounter challenge. Basically, if you want to trigger somebody to cross the gap, somebody on the other side has to trigger the trigger for the plungers, and you can't trigger it yourself in some weird way. You can't cross by strand grapple or well skating. Somebody on the other side has to enable your travel to allow that to happen. But Bungie finally listened and fixed that. And while we are here, the current week Vex Incursion Zone is in Liming Harbor, which also means Partition is the hard reset, the Sparrow one. And to that respect as well, the weekly farming mission is currently No Time Left, which is, I believe, the Rohan Sacrifices Himself mission. It's hard to remember off the top of my head with how many missions they are and the fact that I only played the campaign 3 times total. But with that, it's time to go into seasonal stuff. Like I said before, season stuff is wound down, so pretty much there's not going to be anything new. I'm pretty sure the last section of the Embargo engine might be there. There might be one more radio message to listen to. It's hard to say. But at the same time, in terms of weekly seasonal stuff, Legends Salvage is currently Fallen with Engineering Ordnance Disposal Site Security and Azradat the Hive Knight. And like I've been saying, the Defined Battlegrounds rotate daily, so if you ever miss on that, there is no real reason to panic. You can always just go back and get it. But while we are talking seasons, of course, there is Festival Lost challenges. Like I said, I'll cover that in its own respective video. But then we also have the second and last week of challenges. We have Soul Sorcery for defeating combatants anywhere in the system with a damage type that matches your subclass. Pretty easy to do. Bonus progress for combatants in haunted lost sectors during Festival Lost. Oh, they actually updated some of them. We also have Sun and Moon for defeating combatants with void or solar damage and altars of summoning specifically. And we also have Into the Unknown for completing lost sectors on Neptune and Savathun's Throne World or on Europa. Haunted lost sectors also grant bonus progress during Festival Lost, which kind of sucks because I think the only haunted lost sectors on that list that exist are on Europa, unless they've added a new one for the Throne World and Neptune. So that could be kind of crap. But then we also have the Ritual Ornament for acquiring any of the seasonal ritual weapon ornaments for Malediction. If you don't know what that is, basically rank up your reputation once, earn Malediction, and when you go back through and prestige it, you will have a second rank through that you will earn a Malediction ornament instead. Moon activities on the moon earn bonus progress, or earn progress by completing bounties, patrols, public events, and lost sectors. Essentially just do stuff on the moon. Then Eyeing Iron, completing Crucible matches, bonus progress in Iron Banner and for victories. And then Darkest Nightfall, complete a Nightfall strike on hero difficulty or higher. I imagine, like usual, if you do a Grandmaster, it might just kind of auto-complete. So there is that. And what do I have left here? Oh, I guess I never finished that. But on that same note, that is everything for there. Now, the last thing I can think of off the top of my head would be to do Dares of Eternity and then visit Banshee and Ada for everything. So our Dares of Eternity Legend mode is Hive, Vex, and Valistaric. Now, I might also say while I'm heading over to Banshee, there is some limited time event weaponry that is around. Now, while they are not craftable, it is important you get the rolls you want. Some of them are updated and some of them are better than they were, so just go ahead and get your hands on them. On the front page for Banshee, we have Arsenic Bite, which is something lost to time. It has solid perk rolls, is pretty good bow, but at the same time, it is quite old, hasn't been updated. Not exactly worth it over things like Lunalada. Plank Stride, which is a arc machine gun from Season of the Plunder. While its origin perk is probably one of the most meh, it is a pretty solid one. Has Volt Shot, which I know it's a machine gun. Volt Shot on a machine gun is more useless than probably a fusion rifle, but on that same note, it is pretty solid. Pleiadius Corrector, another of the most outdated weapons, and you'll see this disappear from the store more commonly. It'll become a more world drop nowadays. Same with Stochastic Variable. This one is unique because of Phase Mag. If you haven't heard me talk about that, you will next time it is available. But essentially, Stochastic Variable, lightweight frame, Arc SMG, still quite outdated. Same for Widow's Bite, a Viced sniper rifle. Well, this roll is pretty, well, meh. Opening shot's great, but at the same time, if you want a more updated one, you can get Irokanji, which is a kinetic slot sniper, but is updated and with better perks anyways. Then into our main store, we have Boudica C, which is essentially the John Wick sidearm, and there isn't much else to say. It is Hake, it is vertical, so it is controllable, but at the same time, if you're vouching for sidearms, I don't know who is. Glissando 47, a Suros pulse rifle, or scout rifle, blah, which is Strand and does have access to the Strand perks, which came out last season, which is pretty good for PvE, but at the same time, Suros has always been a more PvP-focused idea, so it's hard to really vouch for that one. Stochastic Variable, again, which actually has what I was talking about, Phase Mag. Basically, if you were to equip this, it would convert it from lightweight frame to vertical frame rate of fire, all while retaining lightweight frame bonuses. It would have more damage per shot, slower rate of fire, and better damage per shot, but at the same time, retaining lightweight frame status. And this one, however, I would actually say get if you want it for PvE, which, like I said, it's still very outdated in terms of origin traits and everything else, but at the same time, Surplus and Wellspring is always a good combination. Then Amit AR2, which is one of the best auto rifles even since the crafting, and at the same time, craftable. So while this roll is pretty meh because one says aim for precision hits, one says aim for not precision hits, at the same time it is craftable, like I said, so you can always pick your roll that you prefer. And then we also have Memory Interdict, which while this roll is not exactly that, a lot of my friends have been using this as their main Crucible Heavy because of the existence of Impulse Amplifier on this thing. So if you want a PvP focused grenade launcher or just something a little more PvP focused for your heavy slot, go for it. Same thing kind of with Marcelian C, except this is just kind of a rapid-fire grenade launcher that no one vouches for just because rapid-fires are kind of still just crap. And to visit Ada. So when you make the walk downstairs, of course, there is going to be another one of the random armor sets, nothing exactly worth buying aside from cosmetics in case you wanted one thing. But at the same time, we also have Genotype Null Zero, a shader from old Escalation Protocol, which is a personal favorite from way long ago, and it is pretty unique because I don't see many things that exactly look like this nowadays, but at the same time, it is still quite old. And then we also have Flowers of Io, which is even older, which is one of those shaders that was meant to look like a location, but at the same time, it is also supposed to be a little bit more beat up. I can't really see it, though. And one repeat that I believe was from last week as well, Dead Orbit's Fate. Like I mentioned, one of those shaders that is always solid just because of the fact that it is black and white never looks bad. And on that note, that is everything for the reset update. Like I said, I will be covering Festival Lost in its owner card, and then also Festival Lost Cosmetics in its own separate video. With that, my name is Matt Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.